Here's your news for June 20th, 2020. And your headlines today include: we're kicking off with a development from yesterday's major story, as more big wrestling personalities have been named. One of the biggest names is Matt Riddle, who made his SmackDown debut last night, as he's being named by indie wrestler Candy Cartwright. Cartwright alleges that in 2018, she and Riddle were traveling with other wrestlers, and while the others were asleep, the King of Bros forced himself upon her. After allegedly making demands from Cartwright, which she refused, Riddle allegedly grabbed her by the throat, choked her, and asked, "What if I just made you?" before reportedly forcing her. In a statement responding to these claims, WWE gave the same quote as when asked about the claims around Jordan Devlin, saying they are taking this matter very seriously and looking into it. The company would follow this up with a second statement outlining the company's policy on matters such as this, saying that suspensions and contract terminations are just some of the actions they can take against those arrested and later convicted of doing this sort of thing. Riddle, who married his partner in 2011, is the father of a son and twin girls, and whilst big things have been expected from him on the Blue brand, kicking off with a non-title win over Intercontinental Champion AJ Styles, time will tell what will come of this very serious claim by Cartwright. Riddle isn't the only WWE superstar to face accusations, as gentleman Jack Gallagher has also been accused of making unwanted advances. A woman known as Becky is alleging that the cruiserweight got her drunk on New Year's Eve in 2014 and made advances. She said, "Jack asked me to sit on his lap. I said no. He then sat on my lap and made advances. The entire time, I expressed that I was uncomfortable, but I also didn't want to make a scene." Becky claims to have resisted his advances, which only angered the 205 Live star, who reportedly ripped off her skirt when she tried to push him off. Finally, WWE acted on these charges and released a statement confirming Jack Gallagher's release from the company. WWE has come to terms with the release of Jack Gallagher. Jack Claffey is all they said. It might be worth noting that they did not wish him the best in his future endeavors. More prominent names have also been mentioned, as AEW's announcer Justin Roberts, NXT's Velveteen Dream, NXT UK's Wolfgang, and Kobold have also faced claims of wrongdoing to varying degrees. Like we've said previously, these claims remain to be claims, but hopefully those who have been affected by wrong behavior get the justice they deserve. Over to SmackDown next, as Bray Wyatt returned this week following his Money in the Bank Universal title match loss to Braun Strowman. Re-emerging in the Firefly Funhouse, Wyatt acted as normal, or at least as normal as he can get, but all that fizzled away when he started being taunted by his own puppets. Braun Strowman also got in on the action, as the Universal Champion said that he wasn't finished with Wyatt, and that's when the host of the Firefly Funhouse gave the fans, and the Monster Among Men, a blast from the past. Transforming into the Wyatt family version of himself, complete with old footage of the family, Bray told Braun that if he wanted to find him, all he had to do was follow the buzzards. This is an interesting development in Wyatt's character, to say the least, as the Firefly Funhouse character juxtaposed with The Fiend has been one of the WWE's most popular characters since he appeared in April of last year. Given the rumors of a rematch between Strowman and The Fiend for the Universal title, fans will have to wait and see whether The Fiend reappears, but for now, it looks like the old Bray Wyatt is back in charge. Speaking of the Blue brand, we're looking ahead to next week's show, as the storyline with Sheamus and Jeff Hardy will carry on. Appearing in a backstage interview, Sheamus said that he's preparing to raise a glass and toast the charismatic enigma next week, and this comes after Hardy's own interview where he called Sheamus insecure and a bully. Sheamus knows all about glasses being raised, as he received a cup of urine to the face courtesy of Hardy recently, and we're sure Sheamus will be planning something for next week. Raising a glass to the former World Heavyweight Champion is, of course, referencing Jeff's past issues with alcohol, as while he may have defeated the charismatic enigma at Backlash, it looks like Sheamus isn't finished having fun at Hardy's expense. Next week's show will also see AJ Styles defend the Intercontinental Championship against Drew Gulak, and hopefully the Phenomenal One will bounce back after losing to Matt Riddle in non-title action this week. While the match between Styles and Gulak will no doubt be entertaining, we're curious to see what role Daniel Bryan will play in the match, as in addition to being Gulak's training partner, it was Bryan who Styles defeated to capture the vacant Intercontinental title. With these two huge segments already announced as well as more to take place, next week's SmackDown will be a huge deal, as the road to WWE Extreme Rules continues. One person fans won't be seeing on next week's SmackDown is Dolph Ziggler, who is reportedly heading to Raw, but he isn't going alone. It's being reported that Robert Roode is set to go with him, but isn't at this time as he's unable to make TV tapings. The reason for this is that the former NXT and US champion has been in Canada, and due to the ongoing global situation, hasn't been able to travel from the Great White North to Florida to make any of the tapings. With that in mind though, there is now a loophole for professional athletes, which could mean that Roode may be able to travel to the Performance Center, but at this time, it's not clear how long it'll be until Roode is able to return. What's even more interesting about the moves of Roode, Ziggler, and Mustafa Ali is that they were all being discussed a few weeks ago, even before Paul Heyman's firing, according to a source for Ringside News. On TV, these trades have been described as part of AJ Styles' move to SmackDown, as when he made the phenomenal move, the WWE said that he'd been traded for what they described as future considerations. It's also been reported that this future considerations line is also being used as the reason behind the scenes as well, and given that 3 people have been moved to make up for Styles leaving Raw, time will tell whether a 4th future consideration will join them on the Red brand. Speaking of Raw, this week's show saw a guest appearance by the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and this won't be the only time this month that fans get to see the dirtiest player in the game. During SmackDown, a commercial aired that announced that Flair will be on next Monday's Raw, as he plans to crown Randy Orton as the greatest wrestler ever. After defeating Edge in the greatest wrestling match ever, Orton opened this week's show of Raw but was confronted by Christian. Though when the pair met later in the night in an unsanctioned match, Flair proved he's the dirtiest player in the game, giving Captain Charisma a low blow, allowing Orton to punt Captain Charisma, much like he did to Edge at Backlash, to get the win. As a 13-time WWE World Champion, Grand Slam winner, former Mr. Money in the Bank, and 2-time Royal Rumble winner, Orton certainly has a lot of reasons to believe he is the greatest wrestler ever, and it seems the Nature Boy is more than happy to bestow that accolade to his teammate. With Edge on the shelf with a torn tricep, it seems like WWE are pitching an Orton-Christian story, and time will tell whether the Canadian superstar will have something to say during next week's coronation of the greatest wrestler ever. This coming Monday's edition is also being described as Championship Monday, and for good reason. Also on the card, R-Truth will be defending his 24/7 title against Akira Tozawa and his Army of Ninjas, but that's just one of the 4 title matches scheduled for the show. Raw Women's Champion Asuka will defend her title against Charlotte Flair after the Queen has had her number recently, whilst Bayley and Sasha Banks will put their women's tag titles on the line for the 3rd time in just over a week when they defend against the Iconics. The Street Profits will also be defending their Raw Tag Team Championships against the Viking Raiders, and with Rey Mysterio also set to make his first in-person appearance since Seth Rollins attacked his eye last month, it's going to be a huge night come this Monday. From one former champion to 2 current champions in WWE, as Bayley and Sasha Banks have had one very impressive week. After retaining their women's tag titles against both the Iconics and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at Backlash, the pair also retained against Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart on NXT, leaving the reigning champions in a bragging mood. On Twitter, Banks referred to herself and Bayley as the greatest tag team of all time, an accolade that Mickie James said belongs to the Rock and Roll Express. Things got even more interesting when AEW's Dax Harwood got involved, as he pointed out that Banks responded to the veteran team as the Rockin' Express, leading the boss to say that she and Bayley are better than FTR. After years of being underutilized in WWE as the Revival, Harwood and Cash Wheeler are already doing big things at AEW, but don't expect the boss or the SmackDown Women's Champion to be praising FTR anytime soon. Back to WWE now, and fans will remember Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff being appointed the role as executive directors, and whilst neither man is in the role now, the pair had an interesting way on deciding who they wanted. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Heyman had a very specific group of people he wanted. As they reported, when the new rosters were being put together before SmackDown went to Fox, and when Eric Bischoff was still in charge, there was a legitimate draft or trade or negotiations between the two regarding talent. It was also reported that Heyman allowed Bischoff to have Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, but only if Raw was allowed to get Andrade, Charlotte Flair, Aleister Black, and Zelina Vega. More knowledgeable fans will notice that Heyman wanted to keep these real-life couples together, and Buddy Murphy was also a name that Heyman made sure was on his show. Of course, now that Bruce Pritchard is the executive director of both Raw and SmackDown, the company is set to undergo a lot of changes, and time will tell whether any of these couples are split up under the new rosters.